That's all well and good. We're going to continue our panel series now. We're going to talk about some cosplay, which is really cool. Any cosplayers? Any cosplayers in the whole friggin' con? Yeah, get over here. Get over here. You will not want to miss our conversation with Kristen Hughey. How are you doing today?
Hey, guys. So, I'm just going to get comfortable here and explain myself a little bit. I'm Kristen Hughey. For those of you who don't know me, I've been cosplaying for going on 3 years now. I think this is the first time I can say 3 years. I've been saying 2 for so long. So how I got into costuming was basically through gaming. I've always been a gamer my entire life. I did not realize that gamers got together outside of the virtual world. So when I realized that, I started coming to conventions, and I realized people dressed up. I just decided to dress up and join the crowd, and it's just been the coolest, most amazing experiences I've ever had. It's just a lot of fun. I've met my best friends through costuming. It's funny because I don't really even talk to a lot of my old school friends because we just don't have that common ground anymore the way that I do with the people that I meet nowadays. And it's really special, and it's pretty awesome. So thank you guys all for being a part of that, first and foremost. I know I've talked to a lot of you at my booth and everything, and it's been really cool. You guys are awesome. Beyond that, I don't really know what you guys want to know about me or costuming in general, so I'm just going to open the floor to you guys, if that's okay, and kind of just let you guys ask questions.
Well, tell us about your first costume that you put together.
The first convention I ever went to was Dragon Con in 2012. Dragon Con is awesome, isn't it? Yeah, everyone should go. It's just a big costuming convention, and actually
with the 100 million other people that also go to Dragon Con. It's huge.
Yes, it is huge. It's hosted between 5 hotels maybe?
Yeah, I think it's 5 now.
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah, all of Atlanta does shut down for Dragon Con.
It's insane.
And they still somehow manage to play football and do all the other crap that they do in Atlanta at the same time.
There's always a football game there every year. Yeah, at the same time. But anyways, that's a big costuming convention, and that's kind of how I found out and decided, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm bringing my A game at the time, to Dragon Con. And so I actually had 3 first costumes. I had Black Cat, which was the very first costume I ever wore on the show floor. I did Jade from Mortal Kombat, which was actually a commission at the time. That I did not make that one. That one I bought from a girl in Spain who's amazing. And then, who else did I do that year? Jessica Rabbit, I did that year as well. It was fun. The reaction was just, actually not even with Jessica, my favorite reaction was with Black Cat, because here I did not realize how many nerds there were in the world, and I absolutely love Felicia Hardy. I just love everything she embodies. I love her costume, I love her character, I love white hair, I love wearing a mask. So I thought that, I decided to be Black Cat, but I thought no one else would know who this character is. This has got to be super obscure. There's no way. And little did I know when I walked on that show floor that Black Cat has a huge following. And so many people were dressed as Black Cat and ran up to me and said hi and everything. And it was just, me being an introvert, that was just the coolest thing ever.
You're welcome. You get a cool table thing.
We're getting a curtain.
You are. There's splinters and stuff on the table. Don't want you to hurt yourself. So Black Cat, you really, you actually looked into the character, realized this is something that you wanted to do. It wasn't just on a whim, I'm going to throw this together and throw this together. You actually had some intention behind doing it. Oh,
absolutely. I pretty much make every costume with intention and with passion. And I say pretty much every because the only costume that I did not make because I love the character is this one that I'm wearing today. I actually made this completely for my sister. She loves Supergirl, and she asked me, she just said, you would make the perfect Supergirl, please make this costume for me. And so that's how this one happened, and I love wearing it. So
here we go.
I want to know, did you make the S?
No, that's actually how my sister talked me into it. She bought this. She got me the whole patch. And so she said, here, you have no excuse.
There's no getting around it now.
No.
You're now Supergirl. Yes, sir. Let's come back this way.
Actually, do you prefer hand sewing or by machine?
Hand sewing or by machine? Oh, machine, 100%. Usually, I am notorious for doing my costumes last minute. Just when inspiration strikes, you have to attack that and just make the costume right then and there, for me anyways. So I just love to just quickly throw it through a machine. Just hand sewing is so long and tedious. Now, if I was going for accuracy as far as like a character based in a time period where there was only hand sewing, I would love to do something like that. But I mean, you're talking really, that's super time consuming.
How long does it take to do something like that? Like Supergirl, for instance.
Oh, Supergirl, I actually sewed with my friend Indra, Fantasy Ninja. If you guys follow cosplayers, she's awesome. She taught me how to sew on spandex with this costume, and we made it the night before the convention.
Wow.
I had the pattern pieces cut out, but and I had already patterned it because I did pattern it myself. But yeah.
Awesome.
So what equipment do you use? Like, what machines do you have?
What kind of machine? You know what? I forgot what it is. It's a Brother machine. It's not like a super professional. I would say it's not entry level, but it's not professional. It's a Brother. I want to say 3040 something, but I don't think that's right because I actually think that's my serger number. So I don't know. I'm sorry. I'll try to post about it.
How did you get into, like, did you just decide one day, oh, I'm going to use a sewing machine? Like, was that difficult for you, and how did you learn those skills to be able to make costumes?
Actually, my mom taught me to sew when I was probably somewhere between 10 and 12 years old. We sewed just pillows together. We started with pillows because it's just really easy to make the pattern. It's really easy to sew straight lines and then hand sew it to stitch it together. She taught me that, and then it evolved from that into how to cut out and how to use a pattern. And then from there, it's really just self-taught. YouTube is amazing.
That's what I was going to ask, if you've gotten a lot of tips from YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for the next 5 years, guessing 5-10 years, what do you see yourself or evolving, as far as the cosplay? How you see yourself within the next 5 years, 5 to 10 years?
Where do I see myself in the next 5 years? I'll still be doing exactly this. I would just hope that my skills are better. Last year I really wanted to take some time off to kind of take some classes and just get better at different things. Like I was telling, I know you guys and some other people, like I don't know how to make corsets or anything like that. I would love to, and I know God Saves the Queen Fashion in Atlanta, she does a corset class. So I would love to do stuff like that and just be better at what I do, but still exactly this. I just love meeting people. I love making costumes.
Cosplay has become like a really large part of the convention scene, not just like here or there. I mean, it seems like every convention I know we do, and every convention I go to is, there are featured cosplayers. That's not slowing down anytime soon, do you think?
Honestly, I don't think so, because the cosplaying community is just growing, and it's amazing. More and more people. Every convention I go to, I meet someone who is doing their very first cosplay, and I meet someone who's been doing it for a long time. And people who, a lot of you guys here today said that this is your very first convention, and that's awesome. And I talked to almost every single one of you about, like, will you cosplay in the future? And almost every single one of you are interested and want to do it next year. So the community's just getting bigger. Which is amazing. More and more resources, help each other if you've been doing it for a long time, help each other with tips and tricks. It's just... I'd
imagine like online is a great way to do that. Do you guys have like a network of folks who cosplay to help each other out, or?
Oh yeah, actually the RPF forums, rpf.com, I'm pretty sure. RJ, do you know that? rpf.com? Do you know the RPF? Or anyone? I think it's rpf.com. The RPF.
That's
it's
right.
The replica prop forums. They're amazing. It's just a big forum-based community where you can just say, "Hey, I want to make this costume. This is what my plan is," or I don't have a plan. I don't know. And those people will help you out there. But my biggest advice is always try to research it first a little bit. Google, YouTube, anything like that. You can literally type in how to make a Supergirl costume, and someone has probably written a blog already and will explain to you exactly how to do it, maybe what patterns they used, or So the internet is amazing, and it's terrible, but it's amazing too.
So how much would you say you invest a year in your cosplay, and also how long do you keep the costumes after you finish them?
I keep them forever because they're all my little babies. I can't imagine getting rid of one of them. Even if I would never wear it again because I want to remake it, I don't think I could get rid of it. It's just so much time and effort went into them. And how much do I invest in it? No, all of it. No, pretty much. That's why I do print sales and everything. That's people asked me to start selling prints, and I thought at first I was like, no, this is like weird. Like, why do you want a print of my face? But it's not really. I kind of learned it's not really always me. It's like, well, I want a picture of Supergirl, and I really like the way you represented her. And long story short, because that's kind of off tangent, that's why I started selling them, because the print sales go right back into costuming.
And you've got to be able to, continue to make costumes. You have to make money to continue to make costumes. I think there's not necessarily has been a negative connotation about that, but, except for the recent future, like in the recent time and in the future, I think people have kind of accepted it more. Hey, that's part of the business. Just like you go over and get Sean Patrick Flannery's autograph, you have to be able to put that back in somehow, and it just makes sense to do that. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Professional cosplayer is sometimes a term that people don't like, but I don't mind it. So.
Yeah, I was wondering, the echo. I was wondering, what kind of costumes do you usually like to do?
What kind of what?
Costumes do you usually like to do?
What kind of costumes do I usually like to do? My inspiration is just, I'm like a squirrel. I will have a list that is so long of costumes that I want to make, but until I just see a character that I'm just like, I have to make this today. Or I see a fabric and I'm like, that is perfect for that costume, I have to make this today. And so it just totally depends on how inspiration strikes me. And I would say more often than not, I lean towards wanting to make gaming characters because that is my love first and foremost. But every now and then it's just, I have time, the money, material to make this costume, and I'm going to do it now. So it just depends.
If you had a chance to play any superhero, who would it be?
If I what?
Had the chance to play any superhero, who would it be?
Oh, to be Mystique probably, because then I could be any superhero.
Literally, any superhero.
Yeah. Hi. I wanted to ask, based on a lot of cosplayers, okay, they always have to they tell on the internet that they need funding for going to different Comic Cons and stuff like that. So what is your comment on that? I remember one cosplayer giving his own comment on this, saying how it's not the right way to do, it's the way that you work, and then you do this as something that you enjoy doing. But some cosplayers, they do it in a way that, I'm just gonna ask people and they're gonna help me and I'm gonna go to different Comic Cons just to display and stuff like that. So what's your thought on that?
Okay, I kind of only caught some of that. Could you?
What's your thought on cosplayers who have people fund them going to conventions, not that are really not just doing it for the love of it?
Oh, I try to be neutral on that subject. I do it because I love it, and if I start focusing on people who do it for other reasons, then it kind of distracts me from my first and foremost focus, which is just doing what I love. So honestly, my advice on it is to just pay them no attention. Or pay them attention. Maybe they will eventually start loving those things. So give them a chance. Who cares? We're all geeks. We're all dressing up in costumes at the end of the day. Someone's intentions shouldn't affect yours.
Right. You do it for the reason you do it for.
I do costumes for a living, also designing clothes. And my question is, I am running out of room in my home for storing, and I'm wondering if you have that same problem. And then also, is there a special technique of storing clothes and costumes in a way to where it doesn't fade, or I don't know if you keep them in specific places, temperatures?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, that's a great question. Buy another house, I would say. That's about where I'm going. No, really. I have a 4-bedroom home that has walk-in closets in every room, and I have 2.5 of them taken up with just costuming things. It's tough because your wigs and your shoes and your in the actual costumes, and once you get into armor builds, it takes up even more space. As far as how to store them, I do garment bags for either each one, or sometimes I'll group a couple together.
Plastic or fiber storage.
I think I want to say they might be a mixture of both. They might have fiber on the back and plastic in the front. I don't know if that affects them. That's actually a good question. I should look that up.
That also plays a key role.
The humidity?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I would have to look into that more. But as far as organizational too, I don't do this because my costumes have gotten out of hand and I haven't had the time yet, but I do have people that advise you to take a picture of your costume and make a list of every single piece that goes with that costume, and if it needs repair work done to it or if the costume's good to go, keep that list together and the picture together, and that'll always help you be able to find things if you're packing last minute, or so you don't forget oh my goodness, I forgot those gloves, because those gloves are also for this costume and they're in that bag and that kind of thing.
Have you ever done that? Have you ever gotten somewhere and realized, oh my gosh, I've forgotten an integral part of this costume?
Yes, absolutely. It's actually my black canary picture that I have at my booth. I totally forgot the choker that day, but it's I got that picture done at a convention, so I couldn't really do anything about it. And really only die-hard fans who want to call me out for something will point it out, so oh well.
There aren't any of those, surely. Why would anyone do that?
That's fine. But.
What about opposite genders? Do you have you ever done say you really want to do Iron Man or Thor or the Incredible Hulk? I mean, is that something that you yourself do, or
do what?
Gender swapping.
Gender bends. Yeah, absolutely. I did Aquaman, which my friend coined as Aquaman. Pretty good.
Nice, Aquaman.
Yeah. But yeah, I love doing gender bends because it gives you artistic liberties. You have to kind of take that character and be like, hey, what would this character look like as another gender? I mean, unless you wanted to make the costume accurate, which then I believe would probably be more of a cross-play than it would be gender bend. So yeah, I got to make Aquaman into a woman. I gave myself some big armor on the shoulders, some pauldrons, and I made a scale mail top and that kind of thing. I love doing those. And actually, I'm hopefully working on a female Ezio soon, so get to gender bend that.
I heard you talking about wigs earlier. Which one do you prefer, wigs or actually dyeing your hair to fit your character?
Oh, no, I like to use my own hair. That's why I do a lot of blonde characters. Actually, that's another choice in my characters. Sometimes I will pick them based on if they have a wig or not. It's always very difficult to find the exact right wig, and then not only that, wearing them all day can be very strenuous. So I don't dye my hair for it, though. Blonde. I dye my hair blonde.
When the opportunity comes, would you do movies?
Yes, but I'm not sure anyone would want to watch them. I think I might probably be a terrible actress.
You don't want to be Supergirl for real, right? You just want to.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Any questions? Alrighty. I'm curious, what do you do for a day job?
A day job? Really, I also sell makeup, but really I got into that more because it fit into costuming so well, and I buy those products anyway, so now I get a discount. So that's it's this. I actually was going to school before this, and I made the decision of should I continue on with school or should I pursue something that could be something really cool and something I love.
So how do you make cosplaying a living? Because I usually do it for theaters, movies, for other people, but how can I be able to make money by doing it myself?
This is always a hard question for me. There's such a low percentage of people that can entirely make a living off of just going back and forth to conventions. It's not a stable job, I'll tell you that. I might have a convention that pops up last minute, but I might have nothing for a couple months. So how I supplement that is the print sales. I produce a calendar every year, which is usually a huge boost. Things like that. Do you do commissions for people? If you were to, And you already do those.
When it rains, it pours. I get work, but then there's like dry spells in between. So, but also being a student myself, I've had to cut back on it.
I missed the last part.
She said it's, in between. It's not like a steady thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the problem with any artist, really. I think we all kind of struggle with that. It's funny, like someone might have the image of being very well off, but I'm not very well off. My husband works, so there's that too.
Anybody else? One more. All right.
I just want to know if, when you started out doing this, if you had a piece that you did or a costume that you didn't really think a lot about, you were just going to kind of throw it together, see what it looked like, but then you really fell in love with that piece. Like, it may not be one of the most popular ones for everybody else, but something that is near and dear to your heart is like maybe like a special little piece that you've done.
So something that I started off as just, I'm going to make this, and then fell in love with it.
It maybe wasn't as popular with everyone else,
maybe it
but you have a
wasn't as
special place
popular.
for it.
Well, I felt that way with Black Cat. I didn't realize she had that following that she already has. She is super popular. I think Black Cat's a rite of passage for most cosplayers, actually. Everyone does that. I feel like it holds a near and dear place in my heart. Poison Ivy's the same way. And then really, for me, it's a lot of the gaming characters. Anytime I do something from League of Legends, like that's my jam. I love that. I love that game, so.
Alrighty, let's do you two, and we'll call it a day.
So, do you ever do costumes for your husband?
Yes. Actually, I have gotten him to do Cammy from Street Fighter. When I made it for myself, I also made him like a shirt, and I bought him some camo pants, and I made the gauntlets, or whatever you would call her things. I made those so they would fit both of us, and he wore my long braided wig and the hat, and he grew a handlebar mustache just so he could be Cammy with a mustache. I've also turned him into Princess Peach. So when I was Toad, yes, it was like
Peach.
It was kind of like hipster Princess Peach, like pink tight pants, a pink vest, pink shirt with a blue tie, and I made the crown out of Warbler with like resin pieces.
Right.
Yeah, it was really good.
So you talked about you sell your prints, your calendars, and things like that. Primarily, I'm sure at events like this, but do you like sell your products through the internet by yourself or through another agency?
Do I run my...
Do you sell your stuff online as well?
Oh yeah,
basically?
absolutely. It's just Store Envy is awesome. It's like a totally... Well, I say it's awesome. I know some people have problems with it. I love it. But yeah, my stores are KristenHughey.storeenvy.com. And I run it all there, or through my website kind of thing. And so that's always, it's difficult to keep up with, and I have to do it all by myself, of course, because no one else is sitting there signing and packaging and doing everything for each order.
All right.
Hi. One last thing is that how much of your pictures are original, like as taken, or are they moreover like there are some edits that go into it? Like how many of them are actually original and how many of them are actually more or less edited?
How many are original and how many are more or less?
Photoshopped.
Oh, photoshopped. Depends on the photographer. I have one photographer that I work with in Florida, Stacy Hokett. He goes by SGH Photo Art. He photoshops like backgrounds and everything. So those are like super photoshopped. And it's funny because most people, when I post regular pictures, I was posting his stuff for so long because I worked with him all the time that when I started posting less photoshopped things, people were like, wow, that doesn't even look like you. I'm like, well, actually the photoshopped ones don't look like me. But no, and I love his stuff. It's just a different style art. That's what he did my calendar last year.
And it's blatant Photoshop. It's not
it's blatant.
like,
Yeah, it's not like
it's obvious that
Yeah,
that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's blatant Photoshop for sure.
Awesome. Let's give Miss Hughey a round of applause. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you
and hanging
guys
out with
so
us.
much. Thank you for your questions.